Hi, good. How are you? Oh, absolutely. No problem. Happy to help. Okay, sure. So my name is Melissa Morose. I work for the PEA. I'm the acting executive director, and part of my role is to support the professionals who work for the province of British Columbia. So these are licensed professionals. These are people like agrologists and engineers and foresters, geoscientists, pharmacists, psychologists, and veterinarians. And yesterday, we issued 72 hours strike notice. So we had been in bargaining with the government, and talks broke off when it became clear to the union that the employer's offer, their monetary package, was not going to be sufficient to address the rising cost of living that our members faced. So our members, professionals, took a strike vote, which is a big deal. This isn't something that they take lightly. They got a 92% in support of strike. And now we have issued 72 hours strike notice, which means that we'll be in a legal position to start job action. We are not releasing details of what that would look like at this time. But to give you a sense, I mean, we've got professionals that work at government ministry offices across the province, right? So, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, Ministry of Forests, Environment, in various roles. And if the employer doesn't come back to the table, which we're hoping they do, we'd love to avoid a strike. We don't want to go on strike, but we will if we need to in order to achieve fair wages for our members. So it could start with rotating job action, and it could be that we see an escalation up to and including a province-wide strike. Yeah, so under the BC Labor Relations Code, there's a requirement that those workers that are deemed to be essential would continue to work. And so if by not working, there is an imminent danger, like a safety, a significant safety risk to the people of British Columbia, those members would continue to work. So we do have some members, a small percentage, who fall into that category. Some members as well would be required to be available in the event of a province-wide emergency. So if we saw uh, something like the atmospheric river, floods, right? Like the floods of, think of last November, could be the case that people would be required to work under exceptional circumstances like that. I mean, nobody wants anyone to get hurt. Well, we'll make sure that those services are maintained per our agreement with the employer and the BC Labor Relations Board. But most people, that's not to say their work isn't important. It's very important, very critical, but they're not essential per the labor code. Yeah. So for pharmacists, it's, I think, less about emergency events in the same way that we might think of emergency events for foresters or for engineers. For our pharmacists, we have an agreed to essential services list so that those pharmacists who are deemed essential would continue working in the event of job action. So, if somebody, we of course would never want someone to be without the medicine that they need, those people would continue working. I mean, it just might be helpful to understand the kind of work that our members do. I think it's important to think of the importance of the work that engineers do in regards to rebuilding highways and bridges after floods, or if you think of psychologists who take care of the most vulnerable youth in our province, right, of foresters who help with emergency response during wildfires. We already have a situation in British Columbia because of the low wages paid to government workers, where the employer faces significant recruitment and retention issues. And if they don't provide fair wages that match at a minimum with inflation, we're going to see these problems become more acute. And I don't know where you live, but I'm almost certain that it's expensive. We all know it's very expensive to live in British Columbia and becoming even more expensive. And we don't want to lose professionals that provide services that we all rely on. And so we're really hopeful that government comes back to the table and that we don't have to escalate because I think we'd be well served by getting a deal here. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if if there aren't professionals in the public service, then they won't be there to do all the work that's needed, right? Like who's going to rebuild the bridge after the flood takes out the bridge? And then we can't get places. And then critical goods can't come to where we need them, right? Wait lists in order to see psychologists will be longer because someone isn't available. Like there's just a shortage. And that, you can think of how that then impacts all of us. It's important. I mean, we all want to be safe, right? We want professionals, like you think of vets who, in animal health, the bird flu or Asian giant hornets. Like we want those experts working for government, right? Who else is going to do it? To be sort of tuned in and thinking about keeping us all safe. For sure. Okay. It was really nice talking with you as well. Okay, for sure. Take care.